This is Five Star Motorsports, located in the heart of Clarksville, Tennessee. Like any dealership, it has someone at the helm. Five Star has this man, Joey Davidson. We sat down with him and talked about what it takes to own your own business, the challenges he faced along the way, and the lessons he's learned in the car industry. From building a brand to earning customers' trust, Joey shares his insights on what it really means to be an entrepreneur in today's world. So sit back and enjoy the conversation. I guess let's just start by how old were you when you wanted to have your own? I mean, like what got you started in wanting to have a business?
Uh, I mean, it's not really wanting to have a business. It's just just bought and sold. Like that's all I did since I was 16, and I realized, you make a lot more money just buying and selling stuff than working an average job, so to say. And then before I went to work at Highway 12, I only went to work there to even so I could buy a house because I didn't have proof of income because I was just buying and selling, for all them years just on my own.
So it looked like you
Privately.
weren't working.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but it's definitely, since going legit, it's a lot easier and to make a lot more money than you ever thought about.
But have you always had a gift to be able to turn products?
Yeah, you figure doing it for 20 years, you just know what sells, what sells faster, what doesn't sell, and in the economy, a cheap car is always going to sell. It's just always going to sell. People every day need a cheap A to B car. They got to have transportation, even if they don't have a lot of money, a lot of credit. They got to be able to get from point A to point B.
Well, prior to that, though, when you said you were selling stuff online, what kind of stuff was that? Just random things? Or?
It was. I started flipping vehicles, four wheelers, dirt
So
bikes.
it's always been that kind of.
It's always been something with a motor.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
So to say.
And it had to have been a passion for you.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it.
Right.
It's kind of like one of the things you stumble upon and then you just like it.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
Someone said the other day that a gift is you spend the least amount of energy and have the greatest amount of success. So you went to work at
Highway 12 Motorsports.
12 Motorsports.
Yeah, and I only did that to buy a house and worked there a year, bought a house, but I stayed there because I liked it. It was a family environment. It was a great job, great people, but having Mallory, I didn't want to do them, them long drives to Nashville every day, every Saturday, all day long.
Never see her.
Yeah, first one there, last one to leave usually, so it's not where I wanted to take my life, And then, of course, leaving there, and Tiffany leaving the hospital, that put us like in a financial bind. But we, made them choices. That's what we wanted to do. So she could stay at home, raise Mallory. And then, I took the office job, working for my buddy Floyd, St. B Automotive. And, but I took a huge pay cut doing that. And then we cut out Tiffany's income altogether. And, I had some cash saved up, around 10 grand. And I didn't really know what I was going to do, but we knew we got to do something because our bills are more than I'm making. So there's no choice. You got to do something. And I kind of resorted back into flipping a few things here and there. And then ultimately, that's like I wanted to start my own business.
Right.
A family business at that. And actually, as silly as it sounds, I Googled, $10,000 to start a business and several options. And I studied on it for a couple of days and just read through a bunch of stuff. And one of the things I kind of clicked on was inflatable business.
Right.
And then, oddly enough, that weekend we went to Elliot's birthday party, and he had an inflatable there, and they were talking about called all over, everyone was sold out. Luckily, we got it, $350, so to say, for the day, and I'm just like...
Your antenna went up, didn't it? I need.
Well, inflatable business was one of the things I was just studying on, and now seems to be a shortage. People can't get them, and I'm like, $350 for a few hours, not realizing how much work they really were back then. But so I went home that night and actually ordered like a starter package, and that's where the inflatable business came from.
Wow! So, tell us about how that worked out.
So basically, I went home that night, ordered a starter package, which was like 2 bounce houses, a combo, which is a bounce house with a slide, and then steaks, a dolly. Is a whole starter kit for around $7,000. Um, then from there, I spent the other $3,000 on insurance, business license, inspections, everything to make that business legit. And then from there, I think we did all that in October or November. And then from there, we actually got all of our license and everything done and inspections done. And then I think February, could legally operate. I think we probably got it in January. February was when we got our first call from our first customer. And, it was a bounce house, charged $200 for it. Went out and did it like it was nothing that day. I made $200. Bounce house takes 15 minutes to set up and, maybe 15, 20 minutes to tear down. And then, of course, you get into the cleaning and all that. But we went out and made $200. And I think we did maybe 3 rentals in February. It wasn't a lot, but it was income. We're making a couple $100 every weekend, and we're finally having income coming in that I feel a little better about. Still struggling, honestly, but I'd still buy and sell a vehicle here and there from the house and just make a little money and keep going. And then by the time we got to April, we were renting all 3 pieces out every weekend, a lot of times Saturday and Sundays. And now we're at the point where we're making, over $1,000 a weekend. And it's like, okay, we're going to be all right. And so I just start stacking the money back up, get a couple grand and order another inflatable. Get a couple grand, order another inflatable. And we just kept doing that the whole time, in 2 years. I took out what we needed to live and reinvested the rest of it. And to the point where we had, over 20 inflatables, hundreds of chairs, tables, several tents,
You even did something with the Secret Service in Nashville one time, didn't you?
Yeah, we actually did that we did that big event in April. So we were only open for like 2 or 3 months, and we did that.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And that was our first big event. That was $1,000 event, like several $1,000 event. And I didn't even have everything they needed. I'm like, yeah, I got it. And I just went out and bought it because I'm like, at least we'll have it. And then that gets into, I bought a bunch of generators. I bought a bunch of tents. And after we did the event, I just flipped them, put them right back on Marketplace, resold them because we didn't need all that stuff again. And just got, most of the money back. And then we still made money off renting it.
And that comes natural to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All of that comes natural.
Yeah, it does. I'm just like, I'm not going to tell them. Most people will be like, oh, we can't do that. Yeah, we absolutely can do that. We'll figure it out. And that's kind of been my thing. I'll always figure it out. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll figure it out. And luckily, I'm usually able to figure it out.
Yes, I can attest to that. It's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, we got busier and busier to the point where we're making over $100,000 a year just in inflatable rentals.
Wow.
And
wow.
But
is that clear or that's gross?
Gross. Yeah. Right. And
that's pretty amazing though to go from
and there's not
knowing anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we did that. I guess we had the inflatables for, we did it for 3 years, and
really, I didn't know you did it that long.
Yeah, it was right at 3 years, and but it got to the point where we had the venue, because so once we got over about 11 inflatables, started getting tents, tables, chairs, we outgrew the garage right away. Rented a big storage unit, like a 14 by, I think 40 or 14 by 32 or something storage unit.
Mm-hmm.
Once we got over 16 inflatables, we outgrew that. And that's where I actually have the building the car lot is now. We talked about wanting to maybe do like a venue. Once again, we've seen a need for it. And somewhere people can rent out for birthday parties and baby showers and smaller events like that. Under 50 people and affordable. Because a lot of these venues aren't affordable. And so I actually, know the guy where we're leasing from now, Brian Wolf, and he had this building for lease. And going over there, I really only wanted the basement for a warehouse. I really only wanted to rent that. And then, we got to talking, and he's, hey, I'll just rent you the whole building, do what you want with the rest of it. And gave me a good deal I couldn't pass up, and, we made it work. And then, so we realized, okay, well, we got the big, we got the big shop now for our inflatables in our warehouse. And then we're like, we're going to make the middle story a venue. Just something small. We had table and chairs for 50 people in there, a little indoor bounce house, poker table, bar, a little, half kitchen, you want to say. And we started renting that out. And then it started doing really well. It was renting just about every weekend. It was affordable. We rented it for, I don't know, I think it was like, you could rent it all day for maybe $350, $400 every day on the weekends. So we got where we're renting it some Fridays, some Saturdays, some Sundays. It got doing good. The inflatables got doing good. And year one, me and Tiffany did it all. Year two, about killed myself, and I finally got some help. By year three, the people who helped year two realized how much work it is. And nobody understands how much work an inflatable business is until you do it. And
the cleaning of it seems to be insane.
Yeah, and that's where we got it. I got the building, we got the big warehouse. And this whole time I'm still working for my buddy at St. B Automotive. And so I'm going in at 6 o'clock. I'm setting up inflatables. Then I'm going to work, working all day. Tiffany comes, cleans the inflatables. I'm getting off work, I'm driving back over there, and we're rolling them back up, storing them away. And essentially we do that, we got over 10 units going out, on the weekend. So it's 10, 12 units that have got to be cleaned. And we're just getting busier and busier with. And it's just...
You were having to hire people, weren't you?
So I'm like, okay, well, we went from, not wanting to work every day, working Saturdays and all this at Highway 12 to I'm working more than I've ever worked my entire life.
Right.
And it's like a lot of people are like, I want to work for myself because I want to set my own hours. It's like, that's where it's... When you work for yourself, you work 24/7,
right.
And that's... A lot of people don't understand that until you get busy and the time comes.
Till you try it. Right.
But it was physically killing our bodies. I mean, we were just working, like I said, throughout the week. We're doing that. We're getting home late, back again the next day. We get them all clean. And then by Friday, here we are. I'm going out on my lunch break, making deliveries to try to get ahead of the weekend. Deliver them all weekend. And there were several times we left the house 6 o'clock Saturday morning and not get home till 11 o'clock Saturday night.
Oh, my
and
Lord.
Then right back up at it Sunday morning for a couple Sunday deliveries. So it's like, it is very tiring. But I'm thankful for it because basically I reinvested all that money back into it. And that was my dealership startup money. And without doing that and putting in them years of hard work, I would never have the money to start my dream. And then that's where we're kind of like, we didn't even have the venue open for less than a year. And I'm just like, kind of stepping back. It was December of, what are we in now? December of 23. I was like, I'm done. I sat Tiffany down and I was like, I'm working every day, killing myself. I said, we got all this money now in inflatables and we have a lot of capital sitting there. I said, I think it's time to sell out. I said, we already got the building. I called Brian Wolf, and I made sure he was good with me converting it over to a car lot because that's what he originally was going to put there. He said no problem, and I talked to my buddy Floyd, and I was like, hey, this is kind of where I'm going with this. Is I'm going to sell out. I'm going to open the car lot up, and not going to work myself to death no more. I was like, this has always been my dream to go legit with it, and that's where I'm at. I've known Floyd forever, I mean...
Did you go to school with him?
No, I didn't go to school with him. I met him at the racetrack, I would say, but he's been my personal mechanic for, over 20 years. He fixed my stuff at his house because he's affordable, he's good, and that's kind of where he just opened his own shop up to St. B where I was working, He's probably only had that open maybe 6 years or so now, 5, 6 years. So
I didn't know that.
I
thought it'd been there.
Yeah, he worked at Co-op for like 30 years. So
oh, really?
Yeah, So he's doing really well with that. And, I'm like, well, we could team up. And he's always wanted a car lot. And it's like, well, let's team up and let's do this together, And we talked about it a bunch and what we're going to do. And that, that December, we were like, that's it. I was like, I'm going to work for you until, we get all this finalized and get all of our license and everything. And then I'm done here. And, that kind of put him in a bind because, but he understood. And that's where we opened it. I think we opened up February. My last day with him was February 21st of 24. And my first day at the car lot was February 22nd of 24.
Wow.
So by the time we opened up, I basically, I sold all the inflatables, all the tables, chairs, tents, and took all that money and I basically put half up and invested the other half into the car lot. And then, he matched it. He invested the same amount of money I did into the car lot. And the other half the money I lived off of for the next, 4 or 5 months. And because I knew we weren't going to get a paycheck, we needed to focus on building the car lot. A lot of people start with floor plans and that kind of stuff where, they'll, if you're a floor plan company, you're going to give me money to buy cars. And when it sells, I pay you for them cars, but I pay you a percentage. And I didn't want to do that. If Kurt taught me anything in Highway 12, he's like, you don't floor plan. Why why give up your profit? It doesn't make sense.
I never even heard of that term before.
Yeah, and we still get them every week. Some different floor plan stops in and whatnot.
Really?
And by now, we've got over 30 vehicles on the lot. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to floor plan.
You have 30 vehicles?
Yeah, wow. Right now. And so basically it came down to, I think we started with, obviously Floyd can do motors, transmissions. We actually bought a bunch of stuff that needed motors and transmissions, and we started buying them in December when we realized we're doing a car lot. So that gave us a couple months to get those ready, and fix them up for the lot. So we kind of started with some not so good inventory that we made good, and we just put a little more work in it. But I think when we opened, we were good to have between 3 and 5 cars on the lot. And that's all we had. And we're slowly trying to grow it. And I knew, flipping from my house, I knew I could have in between 1 and 3 vehicles at my house and still make decent money off them 1 to 3 vehicles. When they sell, I'd buy another one. So I knew we didn't need a lot to get started just from doing that over the years. And but basically, I think we started, that February 22nd. I sold a car that day. I think
really? Your first day?
3 cars on the lot, and we sold one of them the first day.
Wow.
I was ecstatic because I was just like, Then there was 2, and then we started building them up and building these relationships with, all these other dealers, and even through like the big brand new dealers, Jenkins Wynn, Wyatt Johnson, and going to their bid box, and we're getting more and more vehicles. And I would say by the end of March, we probably finally hit like 10 vehicles on the lot.
So it took 2 months to get up to 10.
We started February 22nd.
Oh, so 1 month.
About a month, maybe a little over a month, say 5 weeks.
Okay.
And now we got 10 on the lot, and I'm taking pictures, just ecstatic. Yeah, we got 10 of them,
Right.
And it's like, it's not a lot to most people, but it's like, those are 10 vehicles we own, It's like, it's hard starting with such a little amount. And you got to think, we started with that money, but we paid, December rent, January rent, February rent, electric, water, internet. We paid all these bills before we even sold a car for 3 months. That chips away at the budget. And but yeah, luckily we got 10 vehicles and got to the point where we were selling, I think we sold 3 in February, which we were only open a week, so that was pretty good. And then by the time March came, I think we sold like 11, and then April came, and I want to say we sold like 19, and it just started booming. And,
wow.
And then
And with that money, you got more and more, and so everything grew exponentially.
Yeah, because I don't think we paid ourselves until June.
Wow.
It was the first time we paid ourselves, so anything we made just went right back into the business, right back into the business. And it's kind of still where we're at today. We started paying ourselves in June, but and no matter what we make a month, we'll still only pay ourselves a certain amount. We just keep growing the business, buying more stuff, and buying better stuff. The quality of our cars has gotten a lot better.
Right.
And it's like I still want to keep a handful of $2,500 cars because, like I said, people got to have cheap cars. Not everybody can afford it, especially in this economy, but they got to have something. And I would rather buy from a dealer that at least checks them out and gives you a good deal versus buying from somebody on Marketplace or something if it seems like to be too good of a deal, it probably is, and you're probably going to get hosed. And we're seeing a lot of customers come in, bought something, and blown head gaskets, that kind of stuff that they bought off Marketplace, and they're just kind of out of it. So.
And y'all check every car you get, don't you?
Yeah, we try to check them, go over them. We fix as much as we can. We try to make every car, even the $2,500 cars, run and drive down the road with no mechanical issues. And that's a big thing, We got a truck right now. It starts up. It's a full-size Z71, full drive, $2,500. It's got a little rust in the rockers, a couple dents. It smokes on startup. It burns a little oil, but it runs, drives down the road. The guy who traded in, it was his daily driver. So, you could jump in that truck, probably drive it anywhere as long as you keep it full of oil, And that's where I try to keep a bunch of those. And they are hard to buy, but luckily we've got a few right now. I'd say we probably got about, I don't know, close to 10 vehicles under the $3,000 mark. And
so you're always going to try to keep a balance of that.
Yeah, because I feel like in those you can't find anywhere. So it's like they sell good, they sell quick, and
it seems to me the takeaways of this is you had to have discipline because at one point, you had so much money to live on and all these things you're doing. And so you had to be disciplined on your spending. You had to have an intense amount of faith. You took a leap of faith when a lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people would be like, no, that's too much of a risk. I got a wife and a kid. But you knew, you had this assurance. What made it possible for you to take that leap of faith? You had assurance that it would work?
I don't have that in me. Like that questions you, or I don't have it. Like I just do it. I've done it my whole life. It's not going to work.
It's not a question of is it going to work? It's just how well you can work.
Yeah, how well. And even from where I was at starting, I never dreamed we would be doing the numbers we are doing so soon. Like couldn't even fathom. And
but you knew it would work.
Yeah, I knew it would work. I just didn't know it would work so well. But I knew we could have an honest, good living doing it. And we've just been blessed, and we have great living now. I mean, every month is busier and busier, And so at the end of May, last week in May, I hired my buddy Justin, one of my lifelong friends, and hiring him, it really got us over the top to where, you got to think, Floyd was fixing the vehicles, but I was at the dealership, I'm going to buy them. I'm trying to run through the car wash, clean them up, trying to do repairs they need along the way. And I'm trying to list them, and I'm trying to sell them. And it was it wasn't overwhelming. It was just a lot of work for one guy, Floyd do the, big repairs, but, if he needs a blower motor or something, I don't want to send it over there, waste his shop time, that kind of stuff. It's,
you got somebody
I would
right
just
there.
throw it in, and that was really what was starting to limit us on. I got 10 out there, but then I'd have a crazy day, sell 4, got 6 out there, and I couldn't get 4 back up there as fast. I had the money to buy them. I even buy them, but I just couldn't get them clean, couldn't get them up there. And, then we hired Justin, and that everything changed. Now all of a sudden we've got them up there, and now we got 14 up there, and we got 18 up there, and then we're like, oh, we got 20 up there, and it took off. And then to the point of we had a really good year last year, and I was like, all right, now it's time to hire a salesperson. hired a salesperson.
You just did that, didn't you?
And yeah, so we just hired the salesperson, and now they're doing really well. And the first month with them, you know, obviously the more people that list your stuff for sale, we got a few things. So we got more listings. We've got some advertising going on. We've got more lenders that opened up our doors to more lenders and getting more deals done through them. So we have a whole lot going on right now, and it's just like, you know, instead of slowly going up, we're just skyrocketing up, and you know, that changed a lot. That changed a lot to, you know, we sold 31 units last month.
Wow.
Which is that's the most we've ever sold, and that's almost one a day, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
When you figure our lot only holds on the front, we can hold around 21 cars, and we got some parking around back where you can put some cheap stuff. You know, we sold 31, so that's a whole lot plus some. And
so, if you were to talk to somebody that wanted to start their own business, what would you say was the three key things they would have to possess to make something work?
I mean, so anyone can start their own business. It's just having that discipline to, you know, most businesses lose money the first year.
Yes.
We didn't lose money the first year, but most do. And so, I mean, you got to have, you know, that was kind of like with the inflatables. It's like when you're starting your first business, most time it starts as a side hustle. But a lot of people don't want to, you know, we're out there with them inflatables nights, weekends, holidays. Everyone wants to go to the lake for July 4th, Memorial Day, and I bet we got 2 hours of sleep, you know, every Independence Day weekend. From Friday to that Monday, I mean, you don't sleep, you just work.
There's the discipline.
Nobody wants to work like that. But in order to be successful in anything, everyone sees the success, but no one sees the journey you took to get there.
Exactly.
And what you sacrificed to get there.
Right.
I mean, there's holidays I missed. There's, you know, all this stuff I missed. And it's like, we were working. You know, what are you doing this weekend? Working. And a lot of people won't give that up, you know. You know, it's kind of like to enjoy stuff later in life. You gotta, to be successful, you gotta give up to be successful. I feel like
So sacrifice is a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and almost everyone I know has sacrificed. That's successful has sacrificed something somewhere along the way. They didn't just fall into it. You get lucky, and some people do, but it's like, most of the time, it's not a luck thing; it's a work thing. You got to work for it.
If you got it easy, you'll lose it easy.
Yeah,
they say.
Yeah. And you know, that's what they say. It's like, I mean, the goal is to build generational wealth, but it's like the problem that comes with that is what do they say? Tough times
make
strong men, or you know,
and
strong men
make easy times.
Easy times, and then easy time make weak men. And it's like, so that goes down to it. You know, I was homeless when I was 16, 17 years old, you know. Decided I'm leaving home. I'm not putting up with all the stuff going on there. And that's what I had, a truck, a trailer, and a little money in my pocket. And that's where the flipping came, you know. Just
out of
buy
necessity.
it, sell it, and scrapping. I was scrapping when I was 16, 17 before scrapping even got big, to the point where people were paying us to, you know, take these cars off their land, and then I'm taking them to a scrapyard and I'm getting $500 for them. And, you know, they're like, I'll give you $100 to get that car off my land. And, you know, back then, $600 is a lot of money. You know, I could make it in an hour. It's like, just people. So my mind has always been like that. When I was like 10 years old, you know, having go-karts, fix them up, wanting to sell them. It's like, you know, and you know, my dad probably got me into that mindset, because he did that a lot. But you know, that definitely helped get my brain spinning. But I wanted to be successful more than I wanted to be.
Then there you go. That is the key. What do you want the most? Because people will show you what they want the most. You can tell it by the way they live.
Yeah. You
can tell what's important to them. It doesn't take that much to figure that out, you know.
You know, I want to take my daughter on 4 or 5 vacations a year.
Exactly.
And it's like, you're like, I don't know how you afford that, because I work.
Because you work hard, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and I'll continue to work and grind, and I mean, now it's a
what
whole
else you
lot
gonna
better.
do?
Yeah, what else is there to do? And it's like,
Exactly.
if anything, we're not rich by no means. And it's like, but now we're not struggling. We can do what we want to do when we want to do it. Um, but it's like, if anything, making a little bit of money is just like fired me up even more. And well, how much money can I make now? Like,
Exactly.
where's the next step going to be? And you're kind of looking at maybe like, maybe buying a little real estate and trying to get into that market. But yeah, it's definitely fired me up more to want to make more money.
And that was one of the things I was going to ask you. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see this going in the next, say, 5 to 10 years? Or is it just?
I see the dealership continuing to grow and do well. I'm wanting to get into the used side by side business. I think Clarksville is huge, booming, and no one really focuses on that. And as big as side by side is, I'd love to have like 10 side by sides all the time, used and getting into parts and stuff like that. And so I want to just keep growing, keep adding on to the business, and kind of see where it goes. And personally, I'd like to start investing in some real estate, see where that goes. Buy a house a year or something, and and just I don't really know where it's gonna go or what I'm gonna do, but
You're open.
I'm open, and I'm always thinking. And it's
Oh, I know that. It's
Yeah.
awesome to watch that.
if I think it's even remotely gonna work, I'll try it. Why not? What have I got to lose?
Well, exactly.
Start over again. If that didn't work, so I'll try something else. And a lot of people say you only fail when you quit.
Well, that's exactly right. Didn't it take Thomas Edison 1,000 light bulbs for the one worked?
Yeah,
It wasn't 1,000. I remember
don't know.
misquoting that, but he made a lot of There's a lot of problems before he had it to work.
Yeah.
So, and the tenacity. That's another thing that it seems like it takes. You've got to be willing to put in the time. You've got to have that dream. You got to be disciplined, and you got to. It's like you said earlier, and I like what you said. It's like, well, it didn't occur to me that it was a leap of faith. It was going to work. Yeah, I knew that it was going to work. You have to have that mindset for it to work.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it would. I told everybody.
There wasn't even a question.
And that's the thing is, like, anyone who's been around me, like Justin said, he told me, like, and you could talk to our friends, Clarksville Inflatables, John and Ann. They're like, they know the girl who came and worked for us, and John told her, he's like, he could sell anything, and it's like a lot of people say that about me. Just because it's just confidence, and it's like I know I can sell it. If it's decent, it's priced right. There's no reason it's not going to sell. I mean, to me, that's like common sense. Like they're like, well, what if it don't work? I'm like, well, why wouldn't it?
Yeah, it has to.
Like in the history of selling anything, no matter what you're selling, this chair, this couch, this tripod, there's somebody out there wanting it. It's like as long as you price it right, it's not broken. Like someone's going to buy it. So it's like, why wouldn't it sell? Like,
and you started at an early age understanding that.
Yeah, and that was like the inflatable business. November of 23, it's booming, doing great. It didn't even cross my mind. And a month later, I'm like, man, let's just sell all this and just change it. And so I feel like, you never get tied to one thing, because if a better opportunity arises, make the leap.
So what do you think that's about your character that's different than somebody else that would be like, well, I don't know, I'm scared to do it?
I don't know what that feels like. I'm just like, we'll make it work. Why can't, if all these other people make it work, why can't we make it work? I know I can.
You think that came from the necessity when you were having to do this, when there was no other option, and you're like, I got to do this, or I'm not, because you said you were homeless.
Right. Yeah. So I was homeless, and I never once slept in my truck. Never did anything. Like I would go work.
Right.
I actually got a little hotel right off Exit 11. One of the nicer hotels every night. And
but do you think that experience shaped your mind and to be where you're?
I mean, it probably sped it up.
Yeah, but you think you may have already had that, though.
I feel like your body goes into your brain goes into survival mode. And it's like, but I feel like my brain's always in survival. How can I just, I coming from a really tough family, that didn't have hardly anything. It's like, I never, I want to give Mallory everything. She's
Right.
my motivation, and, I want to put her places that I never were in life. And, I was definitely not given no advantage growing up or even into my early adult. Like, if anything, I had a disadvantage over a lot of people. Yeah, I'm still out here grinding. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to make something of myself.
Because of your situation that turned you into who you are, you wonder about the kids that, and this goes back to what you said, you want Mallory to have every chance you didn't have. Do you think sometimes that situation makes people weaker? Because
For sure.
So
that goes back into that.
Yeah. So how are you going to negotiate? How are you going to navigate that?
I mean, so my thoughts are probably different than a lot of people's thoughts. I don't want Mallory in school because kids in school say stuff to other kids in school, and it's like, I want Mallory to have a business mind, and that goes back to like, if you do any kind of research, watch any kind of like, reels, it's like, look at like Grant Cardone's kids, and it's like, they've never went to school, they're homeschooled, they've graduated by the time they're 15, and they're making, crazy amounts of money with his business. You can have a conversation with them, and it's like talking to an adult
Right.
that's actually a very smart adult. And like, it's like you could talk to them and they're just so much above where everybody else is, adults are. And it's the way you raise them, it's the way they grow up. And they're like, well, that's the best years. It's like, I'd rather teach her what I know and how to survive and how to be successful than going to school and, seeing all the negativity that, these kids do see. And
you name a couple of the biggest challenges in this journey that you've had?
Help. So it's like inflatables, can't find help. Nobody wants to work nights, weekends, holidays. No, I mean, no, they just don't want to do it. And, the car lot, I'm doing everything, and that's what helped. Finally hired Justin, and 10 times easier, and then here we are, and I had so much I could do by myself. We hired Justin, and now we're up to here. And I say by myself, but me and Floyd, and then now me, Floyd, Justin, and now we hire Charles C. So it's like, we just keep going up, and it keeps expanding our opportunities, what we can do, what we can accomplish in a day. Now we can accomplish, 5, 6 cars in a day, getting them ready, cleaned up, listed, posted. Mm-hmm. And, back from, I was doing good to do 2 cars. Hired Justin, we're doing 4 cars, and now we're at 6 cars, so it's like, you just slowly, help is definitely, one of those things. So help is one, and luckily you build a solid team and you treat your team right. I try to pay them, a respectable amount. It's nothing for them to, they're both paid more than I was paid, working all them places out, and it's like, I want to provide good for them and their families, just like, try to treat them like family. Another challenge has been, was probably when we were opening, getting all the license and permits and fees, and, we started in December and we didn't go live till February. That wasn't by choice. It was just by just getting all the licenses.
I remember talking to you about it.
It's 3 months of like,
it was crazy.
It's a rough 3 months. There's so many boxes you got to check, and to check this one you have to do this, but to do that one you got to do this, and it's like, it's crazy. It's not easy.
How did you figure out what all you needed to do?
I just printed it out and literally
checked them off
one at a time, and it took around 3 months to do it all. And that's working on it, getting people out to inspect it, and you got to do buildings and codes, and you got to get a letter from them, and all this along the way is fees. These people, and it's like everything, it's just a money game. And
so that was 3 months of nothing but getting your list checked off.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah,
December, January, and February.
Yeah, it was. That was definitely stressful, and to the point where another dealer called me and was like, "Man, did you have to do all this? Where do you get this from?" And what happened was he was taking it over from, or no, one just moved locations, and every time you move locations, you got to redo that whole list. So I guess
Are you
he
serious?
did.
You got
Yeah,
to redo the whole thing.
I did. So we only been in one location, but he did, and he was like, "Did you have to do all this?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh
yeah."
my
And
lord!
he's like, "We didn't have to do none of this." So I guess it's a new thing, and it's like you gotta, which they're kind of cracking down on, you know, on the zones for car lots and how many of them are going to be in Clarksville. So
Really?
it's luckily we kind of the location worked out for us, and
So if you decide to move to another lot, you'll have to reaccomplish.
yeah, you have to redo all that stuff. Yeah,
God,
yeah, it's definitely
you're not gonna look for it if you have to move, are you?
no, yeah. Hopefully we won't. But
Well, this has been fascinating, Joey, and I want everybody to go down and see the car lot. Can you tell everybody where it's at?
yeah, it's at 1779 Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah, and come down and see what he's got. See if you might want to take the car home. Absolutely a good time, Joey. Nice talking to you.